Back at the No Bucks Garage. Welcome everybody in YouTube land. Great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you. Before we get into all this, thank you for subscribing, watching the videos, leaving comments. I appreciate it very much. We're trying to grow. We're trying to do things. So, if you saw the last video, and if you look over my shoulder or any place else, you'll recognize that no, this is not the S10. This is our 98 Nissan Maxima. It's been one really fantastic car for us since we have received it, with some minor things that you would expect out of a car with only 84,000 miles on it when we got it earlier this summer. That's right, 84,000 miles, one owner Nissan Maxima, 1998. Wow. But the car has been dependable with a few of the things that you would expect to find on a car of that age. Think about it for a second. 1998, this was the pinnacle of Nissan luxury. Power windows, power door locks. It had the idiot-proof door, and that you couldn't lock it with the without the key, which is a pretty cool feature. And it also had, well, this one in particular, talk about throwback. When's the last time you've seen one of these? That's right, in the trunk was a 5-disc changer. You could go down the road with hours of music. Probably enough to get you to your destination. Anyway, let's get into it. Check engine light came on my wife, Deborah. You know I love her. And initially, the diagnosis was a P0100, or the mass airflow sensor. So coming home that night, I just went ahead and scanned it. That was the only code that came up, and did the thing any other mechanic would probably do. I took the mass airflow sensor off and cleaned it with some mass airflow sensor cleaner, not carburetor cleaner, mass airflow sensor cleaner. Light stayed off for a couple of days. However, she reported that the light came back on, so I pulled out my trusty scan tool. As you see right here, baby. Hope I got it right. There we go. Try and stop the glare and everything. If you are any type of do-it-yourselfer beyond just the basic stuff, recommend that, and you probably already have one of these. If you don't, it's a good tool to have. There are lots of them. Some of them are web-based, some of them are standalone, like this unit here by Actron. And this one is relatively, I've had it a long time, but it's actually updated to cover everything from 1996 forward. So it allows you to read, scan, as you can see, the sensors on your automobile. Here we go. P0100, mass or volume airflow, A circuit, confirmed, and pending. Okay, so let's just say, for the sake of this car, 1998, that the one thing I do know is this is the original mass airflow sensor on the car. At least I know that there are no other devices coding. So, that's not the real reason that it had to be repaired. Here you go. Listen. After I did the repair and started the car up, I could not believe the racket that was coming from the radiator fan. Take a look right down here. I'm gonna shut the thing off because I don't want to build up heat. It's just after 8 a.m. Whew. Now my wife, is a great woman. She pretty mechanically oriented. She knew that hearing that sound that something was wrong and shut off the air conditioner. However, as you can imagine, when the thermostat opened up and the sensor picked up the temp, the fans had to come on. Thankfully, they had not gone through the radiator. But let's see if you can see if I can get this in the right spot. Add a little more light to the subject. Both fans. Rattling like a baby rattle. So we've got to get these fans off. I went ahead and purchased fans from the local auto parts store because that was the only one that I found in town, and the online folks could not get me one until next week. And this car is a daily driver, so you can imagine the importance of getting the vehicle back on the road and operating properly. So if I can't fix these fans, if it's not something, because the fans are functioning properly, it's just that the fan blades are loose, I at least have the replacement assembly ready to go out of the box. One of the things I'll recommend to you if you're fooling with cars at this age, now this is a really decent automobile. It's not your average 1998 beat up and tore down vehicle. But if you are using a vehicle like this, it can be easy to think about going to the salvage yard to purchase used parts, and that's certainly something to consider. However, my recommendation, and it's just my recommendation and experience, is to go ahead and purchase the parts new or remanufactured with a warranty from the parts store, because parts for these vehicles and that vehicle, even though it's a very common mode of transportation, the S10, and you can still find parts for it, but for some of the older cars, the parts are not in stock as readily from your local parts store. They can be had online, but again, this is a daily transport vehicle, so it's got to get fixed quick as possible. So that's just my recommendation on that. So there we go. And yet another reason to remove stuff, take stuff out, so you can take stuff out. There was a connector down here for the inlet air temperature. And if I had kept tugging and just all in all acting a idiot, I probably could do myself more harm and create more work and expense for myself. So take your time. Take your time. These things already cost enough money as it is just to maintain it. Absolutely, you can save money doing this type of work yourself if you have the patience and just a few tools, few basic tools. Anybody want to have a car this old? Well, for one thing, this was one of the best cars that Nissan ever built, in my estimation. And a lot of journalists, automotive journalists and everything have said the same thing. The other thing, this is a one-owner car. Owned by some older people. They weren't into hot rodding. Their car was never lowered. It's unmolested. Unmolested. And very well maintained. In fact, practically everything on here has never been disconnected. Plus, they only drove it 84,000 miles, so it's got a lot of life left. If you've ever known anybody who's owned these, boss at my at the former parts store I used to work at. I used to work at AutoZone. He got some good stories. In fact, I may share one with you today. But he had a 4-speed Maxima with over 245,000 miles, 98 Maxima too, and a 4-speed on top of that. He had over 240,000 miles on his vehicle before the original factory clutch finally had to be replaced. And he was the original owner of the car. Here's another little tip. If you're not going to put your screws in a jar, in a container, in a magnetic tray, turn them a few threads into the capture nuts or into the nut or into whatever it is that it was holding. They'll stay in place and you'll always know where they are. Something else to consider. See my little lamp right there? Years ago, we used to do this work, and you see that my hand is holding on to and touching this light bulb. Now, the socket back there is quite warm. The bulb itself is actually quite cool to the touch. It's an LED. Years ago, we used to have just 110 volt trouble lights with heavy duty tungsten filaments in them. And they all said that they were only rated for a certain wattage bulb, usually a low wattage bulb, 50 watt maybe, something like that, but even a 50 watt bulb got insanely hot. You have never lived until you have been working on a fuel leak, on a fuel pump with a trouble light underneath the car. And the fuel line comes disconnected, and fuel is dripping down and hits that hot light bulb, and that light bulb explodes. And the flame that results will make you hurt yourself getting out of the way. It happened more than a few times to me. So, new technology, embrace it. It is so much more superior. Although, I do have to admit, sometimes seeing an old trouble light brings back a bit of nostalgia. Back in the days when me and my brother worked out in the backyard, 2 o'clock in the morning. Repairing our old cars. Mine was a 64 Impala Super Sport. He had a 66 Pontiac Le Mans 326. Oh, my Super Sport was a 283 with a power glide originally. And Later, I modified it and built a Turbo 350 transmission and put in. This is giving me all kinds of fits. I'll tell you what, I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay. So forget about using a screwdriver, just remove the tabs, just give it a bit of a firm tug until the lower tube releases. And bam, just like that, out of the way. Put you in the pile. Now we can get down to it. 2 bolts, your choices. Phillips screwdriver right there. Or it looks like 10 millimeter. I'm actually going to do this without removing, well, let's just say I'm going to try to do this without removing the radiator hose. Screw there. Yikes. Oops, I'm going nowhere, folks. There she is. Say what, honey?
You recording?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can talk.
What did you want? I'm going to Bojangles.
Yes, I want Bojangles, a biscuit. Yes, I'd love one.
Chicken?
Huh? Chicken or?
Steak.
You know, I'm kind of chickened out. So the steak will do. Whew, it's getting warm already. Hey, I like them shoes and that dress.
Oh, the tennis shoes. Look at my little bit of leg.
Oh, almost there, almost there.
Did you change it?
Huh?
You had to tighten it up?
No, I haven't got it off yet. I'm going to try to snake it out without clamping the holes off, even though I do have the clamps. So I'm talking to you and the audience at the same time. So I'm going to try to snake it out of here without clamping this off and taking it out. So it's not gonna happen.
You want coffee or you gonna do your own?
Yeah, like I need a hot cup of coffee on a day. Like, yeah, give me coffee. I haven't had any this week.
It's too hot for coffee.
It's too hot for coffee? What do you recommend? Sweet tea? Sweet tea?
We have sweet tea in the house.
Okay.
Come here, Louie.
Where is Scrumpy Dump? Say hey, Louie. Don't be bashful.
Okay, so you...
Louie! Louie! Hey!
It's your garage, dog.
Yeah, that's how I also get grease off my hands. No. I'm just kidding.
So you want chicken? Oh, no, you want steak.
Steak.
Okay. I'll be back.
All right. I thought I was going to be able to snake that thing out of there, but it does not look like that's going to happen. So let me get some more tools. Don't get it dirty, she says. Ouch! Hey, that's cute.
Come on.
That's going in film.
What?
That's going on the video.
Where did Jamie sweet? I'm gonna
That's my name.
kill you. In a few minutes when I come back.
A few minutes. Okay. I'll be here, but let me fix the car first.
Good morning, Saturday morning. Let me see myself on camera.
No, you can't see yourself in the camera until after it's
Let
done.
me tell you how you could do it.
No, I'm not going to do it.
So I can see the-
I'm not going to do it. Go get the sandwiches and stuff while I get all this stuff off of here and everything else. I just want to film a hot chick
Watch out, watch out, watch out.
driving a truck,
Yes.
driving a big truck. Ain't nothing like it.
Thank you. Can't have my pillow.
Go what?
I need my pillow to sit up high.
She needs a pillow. She likes it up high, but she still has to have a pillow to get her up even higher. But fellas, if your girl, your woman, your wife can drive a big truck, yeah, she's a keeper. Honestly, she'd be a keeper no matter what. But the bonus is she ain't afraid to drive a big truck. In fact, she loves driving big trucks. All right, so I got my clamping tool. These came from Harbor Freight. They are a screw type clamp, as you can see. Has a good sized thumb wheel, and the way they work is simply open the gate, slide the hose right into here, and slide the gate over. Of course, you adjust it to whatever the diameter or width of your hose is. Put that in there, and then, put that right there, and tighten accordingly. And the two surfaces will simply clamp each other and prevent the excess loss of fluid. You're going to lose some fluid, but with the price of, there we go. You know, I say it's no book garage, we don't have money. Well, sometimes you have to spend money. But the idea is to do as much as you possibly can to keep more money in your pocket. Yikes! And I should not lose too much coolant. Where is my catch can? Okay, now that I got some type of proper container under there. Hopefully in just the right spot. There we go, did not lose much at all. Yeah, and this is one-hand auto repair. Alright, so with the hose out of the way, now you see what you're left with. So all we have to do is to remove the cable stay here and here. And I just realized she drove off with the new part. Wow. Oh well, at least she's coming back with food. Purists and restorationists would never do this. And maybe I won't, because I'm partly suspecting that this might actually be able to be repaired as opposed to replaced. Okay. Sorry, that was not so smooth. At least from the handheld camera's perspective. Now let's see if we can get this out. Have to remove the rest of the stuff out of the way. No, I don't have head-mounted camera or any of that video technology. Okay, so we've got actually this actually helps because there's something connected down here at the bottom. That I literally cannot see. There. There's a hose down at the bottom that just thankfully snaps in. Okay, I'm trying to be proactive. Everything has a place. There it is. The offending party. Okay, it's officially hot and I had to turn on the fan. They're like, oh, great. Wow, the video is stable now. Yeah. Anyway, just wanted to do a little forensics on this to see if this is the shaft or if the fan itself is worn out. Yeah, so it seems that all of the play is in the motor itself. The fan blade does not have any damage. In other words, this hub has not separated at all from, there we go, this hub has not separated from the fan itself. So it's not the blade, it's actually the bearings in the shaft. Now these can be replaced. However, I priced them at $62 a piece, so I would need two of them because remember, this is the original fan for this vehicle. So the fan motors have the same amount of time on them and obviously the same amount of wear. The new part only cost me $145 plus the tax. So now I'm at a stopping point because she went to get a biscuit from Bojangles. So until she comes back, I'm done. Not really. So after the Bojangles biscuit, hey, it was good too. That's kind of one of our Saturday routines. This is turning into a twofer. As I said, it's a daily driver car, so it has to be able to operate. I can't have it down. At least not very long anyway. And I have to be at work this afternoon on this hot August day. So remember, this was joined to this air box, this silencer box like so. Loosen the clamp. Then 10 millimeter bolts and lock washers. And the reason why I'm taking this off now, even though I don't have the replacement part, is there's a core charge. I don't like making excessive trips, extra trips, back to the parts store. So knowing that this is coding, I'm just going to go ahead and replace it. And hopefully not have to worry about it anytime soon or years to come. So it requires a little bit of force. I'm just using a quarter drive ratchet, no need to go overkill on it. And voila, one mass airflow sensor to be replaced.